Hey folks, Stephen here with Noble Arms, Firearms Education and Training, here to bring you another conversational piece today. We're going to call this Q&A Part 2. So, again, as most of you know, I'm not just running my own business as an instructor. I also work at a gun range, and I get to experience a great many types of things. And I get to experience things that are sometimes exciting and helpful, other times flat out entertaining, and other times just disappointing. But regardless, I also hear and see a bunch of things that I think would be relevant to bring up to y'all, especially questions. Now, the questions I'm going to be talking about today are not so much questions that I've been asked at the range as of late, but more like questions that I see online. Folks, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I try to refrain from telling anybody what to do. But I'm going to ask that you reconsider asking questions on Facebook groups. Okay? Facebook groups. You would think, all right, logic does say that, hey, I'm going to join an enthusiast group on Facebook where I could probably ask questions, get answers, and get help, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, the logic is there, and it sounds like it should be a good idea. Most of the time, it's not. It's actually a horrible idea, and I'll tell you why. Because everybody is an expert on those groups. Everybody, when it comes to the gun ones, of course, go figure, firearms instructor. I'm a member of dozens of gun groups on Facebook, ranging everywhere from Glock, I know, but bear with me, Glock, Canik, Smith, you name it. I'm more than likely a member of a group like that on Facebook. And so everybody, like I said, is an expert, okay? Everybody on Facebook groups can shoot a target at 100 yards out, okay? A football field. They could shoot a man-sized steel plate at 100 yards. Everybody can, okay? And it's because everybody comes off that way is why it makes it not a great place to go. Because if everybody that is an expert there, then nobody is. So here's some of the stuff that I see on Facebook groups that I'm going to help answer for you. But also, I'd like you to refrain from asking these questions on Facebook groups. It can get overwhelming, and you're actually usually the person asking the question is most likely left with having more questions after they get all this flooding of answers, okay? So here we go with the first one. Is 9mm hard to manage? Is a 9mm pistol hard to manage? Now, unfortunately, with many questions regarding firearms, there is no direct answer. And anybody who does give you a direct answer is cutting you short. They're not doing you right. They're cutting it short. 9mm, any caliber, is manageable with skill and technique. Any caliber is manageable with skill and technique. If you don't have these two, well then of course it's going to come off as not manageable. It's going to come off as hard. And you're going to be wondering to yourself, holy crap, did I get the right one? Is this too much? If I can't handle this, will my wife be able to handle it if I'm not home? And blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm getting? It can open up the door to so many other questions. So the flat out answer is, if you have technique, if you have the skill, yes, you can manage a 9mm pistol. You can manage it just fine. 9mm is the world's most used pistol caliber round, okay? Around the world, it is the most used. So of course, it's the most frequent, it's the most prevalent. More people you run into are going to carry 9mm than anything else, okay? With technique and skill, you can manage it. Don't have technique and skill? Take a class. A lot of these, by the way, are going to come to just the flat out point of taking a class. Of course, I want you to come through me, but if not through me, get a class, get educated, okay? Here's another question I saw on one of my Facebook groups. What distances should I start to shoot at? This is the one I was talking about with the people being able to shoot at 100 yards. It was hilarious. What distance should you start practicing at? Again, this is not a simple question to answer, because especially if you're asking it on a group where a bunch of enthusiasts are, it's not going to help you, because they're all going to say, well, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and I can hit this and that, and blah, 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 totally negating the original post persons who asked the question. I don't know how else to put that. So if you go to a range, which you should be, unless you own land, of course, you should typically start at the minimum distances that they have. So for example, at my range, our minimum distance to be shooting a pistol is 9 feet. You cannot shoot any closer than 9 feet at my range. And a big reason for this is the energy leaving the muzzle. All that energy leaving the muzzle with the round, all that force. If the target is too close and it's just a paper target with no like cardboard backing or anything like that, it could end up blowing it in the wind, or after you put a few holes in it, it could just end up shredding the target. But if you have a cardboard backing or something like that, then that's not going to happen as easily. But yeah, when you go to the range, find out the minimum distance, start there. Start at the minimum distance. Remember, all those people that were giving you those answers, 7 yards, 25, 100 yards, all those people giving you those answers are not you. And they are not talking about a position from where you are currently being new. They're talking about their current position being where they are now. So again, this is kind of why it's a bad place to be asking questions. Most people don't answer the question with the person in mind. They answer the question with where they are at currently. So find out the shortest distance and start there. If you have your own land and you get to determine the shortest distance, well, figure that out for yourself. I know it kind of seems like a lazy answer, figure it out for yourself, but it needs to be somewhere where it's challenging you, and also at a distance where you could still see the rounds hit. That way you don't find yourself walking back and forth after every other shot or so, because after a while that gets annoying. So a distance that challenges you, but also where you can still see the shots landing. Okay, do not go with what's going to be easy. Obviously, straight up, right in front of it, pew pew. There's no challenge in that. Okay, it just lets you know, oh look, I can physically perform the actions of shooting, but that doesn't mean anything. So, again, take a class. Take a class. Folks, I've learned that I'm going to be real conservative with all these. I'm not going to go into the exact numbers. I'm going to be very conservative with what I'm about to say in regards to these numbers. Of all the gun owners in this country, only 1% of them have taken a formal class. Now, for all of you who are thinking, aha, I have my license to carry, I'm part of that 1%. No, you're not. No, you're not. A license to carry class is not an instructional class. It is an educational course. You need to know what it is you're doing already when you go to that class. Versus a newbie who's never shot a pistol, they're not obligated to know anything because it's an intro class. So if you have your license to carry and you're thinking, oh, I'm good, no, you're not. You're You're far from it, actually. License carry class, first and foremost, is a joke. The qualification, the shooting qualification, is a joke. If that hurts your feelings, well, truth usually does. It's not, folks. You are, like I said, you already need to know what it is you're doing. You need to know how to shoot, load, reload, fix basic malfunctions. Because by Texas law, the license to carry instructor is not allowed to assist you. Whether or not they're abiding by that law is on them. Your experience may vary. But that is the law. They cannot assist you. So that's why I don't include license to carry course as an actual training course. It's not. It's an educational. Yeah. But again, 1% of all gun owners in this country have actually taken a formal class. That means they went someplace, they paid for a ticket, a seat, or whatever, and they took a class. They did not get it from their dad. They did not get it from their granddad or their uncle or whomever who says that they were champion of the blah, blah, blah shooting back in whichever year. Okay? 1% of that 1% who has actually taken an instructional, actual informal training course, only 22% of that 1% shoot on something resembling a regular basis. Now, I say it that way because it could be anywhere from shooting that 22% of that one could be shooting anywhere between once a week, once a month, 4 times a year, 8 times a year. But it's consistent. Whatever it is, it's consistent. So think about that, folks. Only 1% of everybody in this country has actually taken a formal class on how to use a firearm, and only 22% of that 1% shoot on something resembling a regular basis. Now, that is not a lot. That is not a lot at all. And good for those folks doing what they do, but that still doesn't mean you're good to go. Just like you and I were when we first got our driver's license, that did not mean we were qualified to go and compete in NASCAR. Okay? We did not have what it took to be a part of the Indy 500. Same goes with a firearm. You are a step above. You are better prepared, but you are not good to go. So keep that in mind. You gotta be able to humble yourself to realize, you know what, perhaps I need more. And after you get more, okay, perhaps I need more. So, I digress. Back to the questions. The last question we're going to cover here is something that's probably asked more often than any of the others. And that is, what kind of accessories or aftermarket things should I put on my firearm? Doesn't matter if it's a rifle, a pistol, or whatever. Folks, you don't need to be adding anything to that firearm without first mastering it as is. You don't need to worry about a red dot, because if you can't use your iron sights, the standard sights that comes on it, what are you going to do if that battery dies in that red dot? What are you going to do if that glass breaks? Or the glass is dirty? Are you going to say, time out, hold on, I need to clean my lens? Or hold on, I need to adjust the brightness setting because I was inside where I didn't need my brightness setting to be so bright, but now I'm outside in the middle of a Texas day. Got to turn it all the way up now. What are you going to do if that thing fails you? You need to learn to use your iron sights. Master using your iron sights before you even think about getting a red dot, okay? Now, for those of you that might be getting confused, when I say red dot, I'm talking about the optic, all right? A piece of glass that you actually look through that has a red dot to help you. Then there are lights and lasers. Lasers are something that anybody can see. When you're using a red dot, only you can see that red dot. But when you're using a laser, anybody who's around you who sees who you're pointing at can see that laser, okay? Going on to lights and lasers. Folks, it's not as simple as turning them on and going. I know many of you think that, but using a light and laser properly takes a considerable amount of training and discipline. You do not turn it on and go. I know we see this a lot, especially on cop shows and videos and movies. The soldiers or the cops, they'll turn on their tactical light on their rifle or their pistol, and they'll just start moving around, right? No, that's not what you do. That's not how this works. Think about it. It's dark outside. You're using a flashlight that's got like some crazy amount of lumens, right? And you're running around maneuvering in the dark with this bright light. Are y'all catching on? Bright light in the dark, you running around. They can see you. The flashlight is announcing where you are. Just like a laser is going to announce where you're coming from. You point, take for example, you take up a defensive posture down a hall and you turn your laser on thinking, oh, I got him. I got him. If he comes down that hallway, I got him. You got that laser pointing down the hall at the wall, which is most likely a place or something that the invader can see. So the guy who came over into your house unannounced is seeing this shaking red dot squiggle on a wall. Well, gee, I wonder where that's coming from. So, folks, lights and lasers are not just something that you turn on and run with. There's a skill to this. There's a method on how to use them. And if you don't exercise that method, they could very well get you hurt and or killed. So take that with what you will. I know a lot of people, as soon as they buy a new pistol, they think about red dot sights. They think about lasers. They think about flashlights. They think about a new trigger. They think about this and blah, 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 blah. They haven't even shot the damn thing yet. They haven't even put 100 rounds through that weapon yet. Most likely they only bought that weapon because it's something that they wanted. Didn't really actually try out first. So it's just too much, folks. Don't worry about lights, lasers, accessories, aftermarket triggers, and all these other things. When you get your first weapon, rifle, pistol, whatever, put some rounds through it. Train on your fundamentals, master your iron sights, and then from there, consider lights, lasers, red dots, and so on and so forth. Folks, I hope you all found that to be informative and helpful. As always, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you all out. I'm here to guide you through this journey, because it's a journey. You're not just going to wake up one day and all of a sudden realize, I know everything. So, again, thank you all for tuning in today. Hope everyone's doing great. God bless. Stay safe and keep training.